If you're in the room and you want to make a deal happen, you've got to commit to it. And if you're not willing to commit to it, it's never going to happen. I don't care how lucky you think you are, unless you're giving 100%, it's not going to happen. This is really key. If you want to buy a business, you want to invest in a business, you want to make an impact in the world, it's really important to understand the question I'm going to ask you now, which is, why do people come to work? Okay, the only reason why people come to work is to get their personal needs met. And when you do business and you're trying to buy a business, they're only going to sell you the business if they're getting their personal needs met. Does that make sense? Money will not always be the answer. And when you're doing a deal, if you don't match what their personal needs are, you won't get the deal across the line. It's not about money all the time. Now, don't get me wrong, money has a value. But underneath all of that, when they get their personal needs met, how do you think they feel? Valued, loved. So I've been now married 39 years next week. Happily 4, but I've been married 39 years, and my life works because we spend a lot of time deal making in what our relationship looks like. This thing is a real problem if you want to do a deal. Every speaker that's been here over the last 2 days will say something to you that's called, what's getting in the way of you being your ultimate best? And this sometimes is the problem. Because how many times are you talking to somebody and you're holding your phone? You've got to get rid of this thing because it gets in the way of connection, of making deals happen. Does that make sense? But I want you to understand something really clearly. If you're in the room and you want to make a deal happen, you've got to commit to it. And if you're not willing to commit to it, it's never going to happen. I don't care how lucky you think you are, unless you're giving 100%, it's not going to happen. The way to make an impact is to be 100% present until you leave the room. See, the only people who matter to me in my whole world are in this room. And I've got the most wonderful wife, I've got 2 fantastic kids, I've got 3 grandsons, 4th on the way, and I don't care about them at all right now. And the reason I don't care about them is because they're not here. You're here, and I love you. You not so much, but you I love. See, I want you to understand, you're here. If you're doing a deal or you're negotiating with somebody, that person who's sitting opposite you is the most important person in your life. But you know what you're doing? You're thinking about the next deal or the last deal. Are they going to say yes? Are they going to say no? You're probably going to reduce the price or up the price because you're going to preempt what they're going to say. So I'm going to ask a question for you. Do you know what gets in the way of you being in the room? Past behavior. Who you are right now is indicative of what you're going to be in the future. And if you want to know your future, just look at your past. In order to create your future, you must complete your past. You've got stuff you've not completed. Either let it go or do it. But the reason we're not in the room is because we're thinking about other stuff. And I promise you now, the past is a place of reference, not a place of residence. My big phrase, which I've used for 25 years, says if you're in the room, be in the room. When you understand how often you leave the room, you'll be amazed. I promise you now, do you know what the average parent does when they walk into their home? The average parent? They're on their phone. Can I ask a favor for when you leave here tomorrow and you go home and you might be with your kids, for the first half an hour, you're not allowed to be on your phone. Delay going home for 20 minutes if you need to. No, to do the phone calls you need. But when you walk in your door, they are the most important people. What they want is for you to come home, maybe with a few presents, to sit down with them, read them some stories, love them, be unconditional, be in the room with them. But I promise you, half of you will be like this. Just 1 second. Hold on. Yep. Oh, yeah, sorry. That's what you're going to do. See, this is the killer.
You're watching this video because you've got some level of interest in buying a business. That's great. Let's get you started. I've got something brand new. It's free of charge. It's called the Business Buying Toolkit, and there's a link to get it in the video description below.
Most deals you want to do is not that complicated, but we've got in our own way, and we're making it complicated. If you get people's personal needs met, and you give them a fair deal, you'll get a deal done. But we get in our own way by making it too complicated with annual returns, and we're going to do a payment plan over 3 years, and then we're going to look at numbers. Just do a deal. Follow Jonathan's advice, because it's brilliant. But you've got to follow something, and the word focus means follow one course until successful. That's what the word focus means. But you don't. You just go on another course. That's why go somewhere else. Follow Jonathan's advice. It works. Don't model off your competitors. Model off the best in business and see what do they do. Because the best in business ask better questions, they do better stuff. If you want to model well, find out one of the biggest businesses in the world who is not your competitor and see why they do what they do. So one of the companies I love watching and you don't have to like them and don't worry about the tax implications, find out what they do well, is Amazon. So you couldn't be bothered to go to the newsagents or a bookstore. You went on Amazon, you saw the book you wanted, you pressed confirm, and what did Amazon do the minute you pressed that button? The first thing they did was acknowledge your order. They took the money out of your account, and they confirmed your order, and you went, ooh, exciting. That's called a dopamine hit or serotonin hit, and in your brain you have neuro pathways going on, and we get excited. Then the next message they send you is what? The next message. It's out for delivery, and we go, ooh, in 24 hours I'll have my book. And then we have our next neuro message going all over our heads. And then the third thing they do is exactly what you just said. They send a little message to you going, other people like you are buying like this. And do you know what 23% of people do? They buy like this. It could be a lawnmower. You live in a third floor flat in Doncaster. But they didn't come up with that idea on their own. They modelled it from another successful business.
I'm interrupting this video to tell you about my most amazing lawyer. His name is John Andrews. You need an outstanding lawyer to get your deal done, so why don't you use mine? His details are on the screen. When he reached heads of terms, send him a message and he'll be able to help you get the deal done.
There's one tragedy that some of you don't understand, that most of you don't trust yourselves. That limiting belief, that self-sabotaging. So here's the question. What would it take for you to trust yourself to be phenomenal and let go of the past in your life? Or do you want to hold on to it? Because I'm telling you now, you want to hold on to it, carry a chair for the rest of the evening. Because until you let it go, nothing changes. My wife is still amazed at the job that I do, and she remembers when I had a proper job. And I said to Fran the other day, I said, Fran, in your wildest dreams, did you ever believe I'd be doing a job like this? And she looked at me and went, Nigel, in my wildest dreams, you don't even show up. So I'm just the same as everyone else. Have a fantastic evening. Have a fantastic day 3. Thank you so much indeed.